and said, I grabbed him by the arm and said, what are those guys doing? We're supposed to be helping these people. And Jimmy turned to me and he looked at my hands on his arm. I sort of took them off and he said, Earhart, you better keep your mouth shut until you know what's going on around here.
I see. Why triage? I asked to speak with the same-day social worker.
That's who I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I just said I work with triage.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm the same-day access social worker.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm here because I'm not sure if I'm having trouble with anxiety.
Okay.
And there's just weird things going on, and I don't know. I'm just trying to get your input, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, because you probably I'm sure you see a lot of veterans.
I do.
And I'm sure a lot of them have anxiety issues.
They certainly do. I would say that's probably one of the most reported symptoms that I hear. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So
what's going on with your anxiety symptoms?
Well, I'm not even sure if I'm just being anxious or if I'm, have some kind of real concern here.
Okay.
So, I don't know, how much time do we have?
I mean, typically we have between 30 minutes and an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 12:30 now.
Well, since I moved up
I'm not
here,
going to kick you out of here at any one point, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
But since I moved up here, I've had trouble trusting the people that I live with.
Okay.
Okay, they flew me out on a one-way ticket.
Who's they? Who are these people?
I met this girl at a concert back in 2015.
Okay.
And at some point, she asked me to come up and visit her on the farm here in Minnesota. And I was living in Tennessee, so I came out here and visited. And these people are her parents.
Okay.
Her stepdad and her mom.
Okay.
Her mom flew me out on a one-way ticket. And over the next 3 weeks, convinced me to move in with them. They said that we would be moving out across the street, and that I'd be paying $200 a month in rent and helping out on the farm to live there. So I was like, okay, it sounds good. Well, while I was moving out there, they sold that house that they were gonna have me rent, and then they let me live in their house, and they said, we'll let you live here for free. You just have to help out on the farm. Okay, and then, so I was trying to, do that. I was trying to reciprocate that, and next thing I knew, I'm doing everything for him.
Okay.
So, and it cost me all the money that I had just to move up there. It cost me, I think it was right around $2,000.
Okay.
Between driving back and forth with multiple trailer loads to get all my things out there.
Okay.
And once all my things were there, that's when they started laying all this chores and stuff on us. And it was me and their daughter, but it was weird. Like, they would delegate the chores to her, and then she would delegate the chores to me.
Okay.
So, which wasn't too bad, but it just, the situation's weird,
Okay.
I couldn't afford to move out. And so, this kind of continues. They buy a farm in Florida, her parents, and they moved down to Florida while we take care of the farm up there, which was kind of a relief because they were gone, But from the time that I moved in until that point, a lot of really weird stuff happened.
Okay.
Like, they changed locks on a guy who was doing contracting work for their house. They were being sued because they attempted to sell the farm, but the deal fell through, so they were being sued for that. While they were being sued, they were hiding from the process servers, So the whole thing was just really, really weird to me.
Okay.
Well, then I started getting the feeling that they were gathering evidence to hold me liable for things that were going wrong on the farm.
Okay.
They're having me use their tools to snow plow the driveway and just to take care of the place. And I started feeling like Like there's a weird thing that goes on because the parents are not married, and like, you know, months and months later, I find out, well, Larry owns all the tools, so you have to ask Larry to use the tools. Rachel owns the property, so you need her permission for anything that you're doing with the property. But they're delegating these chores, you know, and I'm using their equipment, I'm, you know, doing things on the property. And I think that because they're able to bounce between the two, you know, they can, if I'm using the tools to do work that Rachel asked me to do, they're going to hold me liable for the tools.
Okay.
If I'm doing things that Larry asked me to do, they're going to hold me liable for the property.
Okay.
There's this kind of like scam going on,
Okay.
you know, but I couldn't ever tell if this is a real or if it's just in my head,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And I know at one point they were telling me not to snowplow out the driveway and to call a plow to get it in there, you know, to get a plow in there to plow out the driveway. And I'm like, why would they want to spend money to plow the driveway when it's something we can do ourselves?
Yeah.
And the only conclusion I could come to is that, you know, they're trying to like take that out of my hands so that they can say that I don't help out on the farm. You know what I mean? So like on the one hand, I was afraid that they're gonna they're making things look like I don't help out on the farm. There's the liability thing going on. Like I am not sure, but I had a feeling that we were like under surveillance, like with cameras and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I know it all seems really bizarre. That's why I was like, I can't tell if I'm having a mental health problem or not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, because the way you describe it, like, could these things happen? Yeah.
Yeah.
They could. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they? That's tough to tell.
Right.
Yeah. So I can see why you'd be feeling anxious about it.
Yeah. And this guy Larry was a software engineer, so I know that he's tech savvy. I know a lot about computers and things myself.
Okay.
And that's kind of part of it now. That's becoming a part of it now because there was a point where they were telling us that they're selling the farm. And so Ayla and I were kind of trying to figure out how we're going to get Ayla's horses and things. Ayla's the girl. We're trying to figure out how we're going to get her horses and things to a new place to live. How are we going to get our own farm? How are we going to afford it? And things like this. Well, they start offering to sell us the farm using my VA loan. Okay? And I was there when they had appraisers come out, and they appraised the farm at $425,000. They told Ayla that she would get an inheritance of $50,000 when the farm sells, which is supposedly 1/3 inheritance. And I'm asking Ayla, how does 1/3 of $500,000 become $50,000? Like, explain that to me. Well, when they offered to sell it, they want to sell it at $500,000, which happens to be the maximum for the VA loan. Why did it go up $75,000?
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Then they want to take Ayla's $50,000 and apply that as a down payment. Ayla, they're telling her that they're selling it to us for $450,000. But I've seen the loan calculators that they were showing us on what our monthly bills would be. And with the loan calculator, they had a $50,000 deductible put in there.
Okay.
And so I was telling her, like, they're taking that $50,000, they're putting it as a deductible. And they asked her...
So did you agree to do it?
No.
Okay.
No. I told them absolutely not. There's no way.
Okay.
And they said, they were having this conversation with us, and they may have been recording it or something, I don't know.
Okay.
But in this conversation, I was recording it too, because I'm like, I feel like these guys are sketchy, so I started recording things that were happening on the farm.
Okay.
And I've got recordings of Ayla admitting that when they first offered me the farm, that they were going to give her a $50,000 you know, they were going to give her $50,000 if the farm sold. They didn't tell me anything about that when they first offered me the farm.
Okay.
And so, and this is while Ayla and I were dating. And it was, even us dating was something that I didn't really want to be a part of. Like, it just kind of like happened. And then I started wondering, like, are they using their own daughter as a tool to try to sell this farm? Like, are they trying to get me emotionally involved?
Did you want to move up here?
I mean, they like I said, they flew me on a one-way ticket. They took care of me. They were nice to me. Everything was great.
Okay. So initially it seemed like, oh, this is wonderful.
Yeah.
Great people.
Yeah. And I was like, $200 a month. Get rid of my, expenses at the place that I was living then, in lieu of a little bit of work on the farm, which would have been our farm.
How long before things started to change?
I mean, basically as soon as I had all my stuff up there.
Okay.
Once I had all my skin in the game.
And how long have you been up here now?
Almost a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any income coming in?
All I get is disability, which is $1,000 a month.
Okay.
And so I've been trying to get a job, and specifically been trying to get a job that's going to pay enough for us to be able to move her horses out and get our own place, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I went out. You know, I had already tried college, and I basically bombed out. Like, I sucked at it, and I didn't do well.
Okay.
So while I was out here, I used the GI Bill. I went out to a truck driving school. I got a Class A license. Now I'm trying to get a job with this Class A license, which, even though none of those people up there have a job, Larry, Rachel, Ayla, none of them have a job.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like urging me to get this job, you know.
Okay.
But I went up there, and I just got back yesterday from a training camp for one of these jobs, and they turned me down because I didn't have the medical documentation that they needed to show that I don't have seizures from TBI, and that I have stable medication for my anxiety problems, you know. So I went all the way down there. They sent me back. So I'm still sort of stuck there.
Okay.
And I was thinking, in the drive-in, I was like, and it's weird because, like I said, I don't know if everything that I've been afraid of with them could be just imagined.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I've been through while I've been up here, like as far as how they've treated me, and they haven't required any rent of me. They haven't, as far as I know, there's no running bill. They've told me that they're happy with the work that I do on the farm. Over and over, they told me. Ayla swears that they adore me. She says they'll probably kick me out before they ever kick you out, And so it's been a great thing.
Yeah.
And it was, especially the way I was living before, I was living in a room about this size in a little trailer. I couldn't barely afford the electricity, I couldn't run air conditioning. I couldn't run heat in the winter because it would cost me too much,
Yeah.
And there was times where I got the water shut off, and it was my water bill was about $30.
Okay.
And there was a time that was one of the bills I couldn't make, and living up here, it's been a lot better because, and I've helped Ayla with some of her bills, and I don't feel burned on that. That's something that I did, I did it voluntarily,
So have you ever talked to her parents about these concerns?
I mentioned a couple of times that I thought that the idea of them selling the farm to their daughter was basically ridiculous. Because she's 23, no employment history, no college, no income. And they were trying to, so not only were they trying to convince her that this was a good idea, they were counting on, they're saying, okay, because she's going to go get her Class A license too. That's the only, we figure if we drive together, that's the only way we're going to be able to have our own farm and be able to afford to do all this. It's the only place you can go and do one semester of schooling and get out there and go out and make $4,000 or $5,000 a month. It's the only way to do it. It's the only way that we see that we can do it.
Okay.
So she's working on getting her Class A license too. When they offered to sell us this farm, it was a very like formal conversation. We all sit down at the dinner table. They bring up all these. They bring up like how much money on average truck drivers are making on the screen. They bring up all the expenses of the farm on the screen when they were basically offering it to us. And when Ayla said that she would like to try to buy the farm, they asked her for a guarantee that she would buy the farm in 1 year if she could make 51% of the minimum expenses. And
So, again, I'm not saying your point of view is wrong, but you've also acknowledged that it could be. And so part of me wonders, like, are they just doing their due diligence on their end so that they're not stuck with the farm? Because clearly they want to offload it,
yeah,
right?
right. But here's what bothers me is, what on earth makes them think that she can afford that farm?
I don't know.
And her mother used to be a licensed realtor. She still has a license, and her license is on ice because, you know, she just has to like pay whatever to renew it. But and she's choosing not to do that and choosing to go through other realtors to sell the farm. But they asked her for that guarantee, and I'm pretty sure they probably recorded that conversation. And now, I mean, maybe they didn't. But why would they ask so specifically for that guarantee? And so they were asking for that guarantee. Now my feeling is that this is more things that they're going to hold us liable for. It's another way that they're going to
It could be.
Extract this money from us. They're going to say, well, we kept the farm off the market for this long. We incurred damages of this much over this year.
It could be. But what I'm going to challenge you to think about is there any actual evidence to support this so far?
Well, see, and my buddy told me, he's like, look, man, you need to get out of there. He's like, let's talk about the facts. He says, you know, when you moved out there, they sold the place that they told you that they were going to rent you. That's a fact.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
they waited till you had all your skin in the game, and they made you do everything for them. That happened.
Okay.
They hid from process servers of people who were trying to sue them for failing to sell the farm. That's a fact. You know, I was there for that.
Yep.
Closing the blinds. They were having us go out and do things on the farm, and because they knew a process server was out there looking for them. Like, we can't be here. Using the welfare system to get a free furnace installed in their house. That happened. Now, there's another string of facts that are disturbing about this. They own an LLC. Okay? Which I guess on its own is not too bad, right? But there's basically no business. What is the business?
The farm's not a business?
The farm doesn't make any money. The farm makes no money.
Okay.
Supposedly their LLC is for real estate.
Okay.
Which I've seen them use it for real estate with another property that they owned, and they were, you know, but let me tell you what, this is what I think that they use the LLC for, is that I think that they take their assets and they tie them into the LLC, and them as people, they remain poor on paper, and they're using that to abuse the welfare system.
Maybe.
And you know what else? I think it serves another purpose, that they remain, specifically Rachel, she remains judgment-proof in the eyes of the court. You know, she has no assets to her name. She can go out there and do whatever unethical things that she wants, and if she gets sued, she's never going to pay a dime.
Maybe.
Like, you know, maybe that's why they changed the locks on the guy who was doing contracting work, and it seemed to me like all his tools are still in there.
Maybe.
You know?
But maybe not. I mean, we don't know. I mean, like I said before, like, it's hard to know. It's hard to know. But clearly, what is evident to me is that this is causing you a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm wondering is, like, because we can't do anything about what they're doing. What I'm wondering is, what do we do to help you?
Right. But and I'm taking the medicine, and the medicine I think is helping me.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. What have you noticed about the meds that are helping?
I mean, obviously a lot of this is beyond my control.
Yeah.
And when I'm taking
You're
the
incredibly
medication,
insightful, by the way, I must say.
oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I figure you gotta be it in this world. I mean, I'm swimming
Well,
with
I meet
sharks
a lot of
out
folks who aren't, so
here.
yeah.
But like, when I take the medication, I'm able to kind of stop spinning my mind around it.
Okay.
I don't feel the need to constantly think and worry about
Okay.
the
Good.
situation. I don't feel the need to analyze everything that our parents are doing and try to figure out what their selfish motives are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's still that compelling, like, I gotta watch out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm not warping my head around it all day.
Okay.
Yeah. But like, and then another concern that I have is like, if I leave this place, and this is something that the
This place
psychologist,
meaning the farm?
yeah,
Okay.
this is something the psychologist mentioned too. He said, you know, if you cut and run before you know whether or not any of this is really happening, you're going to carry these beliefs with you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's probably true. And if my anxiety problems are more psychological,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be making up these same conspiracies wherever I go.
Yep. You're 100% right. Yes. So I'm wondering if, have you ever done individual therapy before?
I don't know, probably.
Okay. Did the psychologist recommend that?
Yeah, he recommended some therapy. I don't remember exactly what it was, but yeah.
Okay. Because that's what I think the next step would be. Because I agree with you and I agree with the psychologist, is that if you take off and run now without any of this being resolved, yeah, you will carry them with you, and the next situation that you're in, things will start to pop up that may not be true.
No.
But they may not be. And so I think individual therapy will be helpful in addition to the meds. Because it'll help you get, kind of like why you came in today. You wanted an objective third-party point of view
Right.
on what's going on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's what therapy is going to give you. But not only is it going to give you that on a more consistent basis, which I think needs to happen, but it's also going to help you learn how to look at things more objectively so that maybe you can start to decipher, is this real or is it not, and then what do I do?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking that's going to have to be the next step.
Yeah, but I don't.
I mean, it doesn't
how
have
could
to.
I?
It's up to you. But
How can I look at things objectively? I mean, I don't.
well, that's what the therapist is going to help you with. I mean, there are ways. The first thing that comes to mind is it's a type of therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy, and so there are strategies that you could develop to help you take a look at your thought process and learn how to decipher, is this real or is this not? So there are specific strategies, and it would take us way longer than just meeting today to go through it all.
Okay.
But again, that's why I think individual therapy would be helpful. Plus, in therapy, you would likely be meeting with them every week or two. And so you're also having that constant reinforcement of the objective third-party point of view to kind of bounce things off of.
Yeah. That would be good.
Yeah, because, I mean, you kind of build momentum. Because if you just go with the strategy of, well, I'm just going to come in and talk to the same-day access social worker whenever I need to. I mean, I'm here, and I will certainly do that.
But it's a less effective way.
But it's
to do
way
it.
less effective long term because you don't build up that momentum. Because let's say, now you don't need to see me for another month, and so a whole another month goes by, but then you come in and then we talk, and then let's say you then don't decide to come in for another 4 months. I mean, you don't get any traction that way.
Right.
Versus, like I said, the individual therapist, I mean, they're going to meet with you every week, if not every 2 weeks, depending on your schedule. And availability to try to work through some of this stuff and get momentum going on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be my recommendation at this point.
Yeah.
But it's certainly your call. I mean, you're the driver of the bus here, so you get to decide what you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to do it. Whatever.
Okay.
But
I do have a few more questions for you, real quick.
Well,
And we're not wrapping things up yet. I just have a few more questions.
I just wanted to show you that
Okay.
there's something here that this really bothered me, okay?
Okay.
What the fuck? Oh, there we go. Okay.
I'm also going to unlock this and pull up your chart while you're pulling that up, okay?
Yeah. So this, I got this in the mail at our address. It's not, this mail comes in our mailbox.
Okay.
That address is of a barn that's on the farm. It's not an address that I've given to anyone.
Okay.
Why am I getting an offer for a loan to an address that I haven't given to anyone?
Have you called them and asked?
No. And I received a phone call today asking about adjusting the rate on my credit card. What credit card? I've never had a credit card.
Have you looked at someone holding a credit card in your name?
No, but I'm going to today.
Yeah. I mean, these are things, and again, these are things that you can start to do, of course, even before therapy starts, but certainly while you're in therapy, because you're going to want to take steps to check it out.
Yeah.
See, why did this happen? Is there an explanation?
Yeah.
You know.
Let me show you something else here. This happened. Everything I'm telling you happened within the last week.
Okay.
All right, let me show you this. I opened a Facebook page to try to do repair for computers because I'm really good at computer work. So I thought maybe I could start a business like this.
Yeah.
I haven't had anybody contact me on it. I've even run ads, and supposedly the ads are seen by 5,000 people, and not a single person called or wrote me to do it, right? And while I was gone, while I was in Wisconsin to do this truck driving thing, I get somebody contacting me asking to do service on 16 computers. Now, it goes into a kind of weird thing here where the guy is saying that, basically he's saying that he's got a budget of $6,500. I offered him $3,600 to fix the computers. He says, I need a little favor. The favor is I'll give you my credit card to charge $6,500 plus tax. Once the funds are cleared in your account, you deduct $3,600 as payment for your work and send me the rest. And I'm like, well, I'm just a home repair job. I can't charge on a credit card. This conversation goes on for a little while, and then, he says, well, how can we make the payment? He's like, maybe if you give me your bank details, I can send you the money to your account.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
Right. Mm-hmm. But now, on the face of it, maybe it's just some random scam. Same with the person calling about the credit card, because when I asked to talk to a representative, when the credit person called, the first thing I told them is, I don't have a credit card, and they hung up on me. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's a scam, and I'm sure it is. But how did that company? Why does anyone think that I'm in the market for a credit card? Why does anyone think that I'm in the market for a loan? I've never got scam calls about that before.
Because you're a 28-year-old male.
So it could be that just the age bracket.
Could be.
And now this obviously is probably a scam too.
Probably.
But what if this is Larry and Rachel? What if they're asking for my bank account info so that they can use that to open credit cards and take loans and things?
It could be. I'm not going to completely 100% rule it out. But part of what your therapist is going to help you do, and what I would encourage you to be thinking about already, is how likely is it? It's probably not likely. It's probably not likely them.
Right. And
it's likely a scam.
Right.
But probably not them.
Yeah. That's what I'm having. I just can't.
Yeah. And again, that's why this therapy, Scott, I think is really gonna. It's really gonna help you start to more automatically kind of run that thought through your head, and some other strategies too to try to, like I said, kind of look at your thoughts a little bit more objectively so that you're not just taking them and running with them.
Yeah. And
You know, because the one thing to understand, and this is true for you, for me, for everybody, just because we think something doesn't mean it's true.
Right.
You know, at all.
Right.
And, you know, triage nurse is asking me if we're okay because she wasn't sure if you were going to see me or them. So I'm going to let her know we're good.
And even if the things that I'm saying are true, and then I don't have any evidence to back them up, now they can sue me for slander. You know what I mean? And I don't.
Well, everything we talked about is confidential.
Right.
So.
Yeah. But, like, imagine a scenario where I am being sued and I'm countersuing and saying, like, this is what happened, this was bad for my mental health, and then I ask for some kind of release of information. But I don't think that would fall into slander.
Right.
But
that's where you got to be careful, Scott, because I can see how quickly you can take this stuff and kind of run with it.
Yeah, you
got to learn how to kind of back the train up.
Yeah, like the first day that they offered to sell the farm to us, and maybe they were just trying to make it feel fair, like they were giving us the option, you know.
Maybe.
And Ayla pointed that out, and I was like,
maybe they want to keep it in the family.
Yeah, yeah, and I totally understand that.
Yeah.
And I like that idea. So, you know, hey, keep the money in the family. That's a good idea. But when they offered to sell the farm through the VA loan, it made me feel like, oh, that's why they brought me out here. And then I told my dad, I said, these people are whoring out their own daughter for a good chunk of money.
It could also be because that's probably the easiest way you're going to get a loan.
Yeah. That's the only way I'd probably get a $500,000 loan.
Well, it certainly is.
And the idea that they're just trying to be fair, I would also say, well, obviously I would never qualify for that loan. So, her being a realtor, she would know that. Mm-hmm. My dad says, well, but they also like to fudge the numbers. And I'm thinking, yeah, especially if they're running an LLC and I've been working on their farm for as long as they say I have. Mm-hmm. They'll be like, yeah, he has employment history. They can say, we pay him X amount for the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. Whether it's true or not. I mean, I don't know.
I hear you, Scott. And again, it's one of those scenarios where, like, could this stuff be happening? Yes, it could.
Yeah.
It could also just as easily be not happening. And I would even go a step further to say, likely isn't.
Yeah. So, that's how I feel too. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. And you did the right thing. I mean, you 100% did the right thing, but I think you and I can both recognize now the benefits of continuing to have these kinds of conversations with somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, again, to me, that is what I'm recommending at this point for the next step.
Okay.
So what we can do
I think it's a lot better than, complaining to my parents about it, who are like, or especially to my buddy who's also a veteran. He's like, yeah, man, you need to get out of there.
Yeah, he could be feeding into it a little
right.
bit.
Yeah.
See, your insightfulness is amazing.
There's a time that Ayla asked me about life insurance.
Okay.
And I was like, why are you asking me about that? And she didn't really have an answer.
Okay.
It's like I don't know. I just kind of heard about.
Why did you decide she was asking you?
Well, I didn't know, but I'm like, I don't think that. Part of me, I'm like, I don't think Ayla is a part of this conspiracy. But like, if her mom put her up to it, I mean, she does everything her parents say, and she doesn't have a choice. She's got all her passion on that farm. Mm-hmm. She's got 14 horses out there. Mm-hmm. And she don't want to lose a single one of them. Mm-hmm. She's been doing everything her parents tell her to do for probably 5 or 6 years now.
But those are her choices.
Right. Yeah. And I've tried to get her to see the light. I'm like, look, you're gonna.
But we don't know. yet if your light is correct.
Right. Yeah. I tried to tell, and my dad like never try to make her choose between you and her mom. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. You know, I want to win that fight, but I was just trying to tell her like, if you're independent, like nobody can tell you what to do.
That's true.
You run the farm how you want. You don't have
True.
to. Her mom told her that the horses can boil in the sun if she hoses them down and puts them out in the sun. And I'm like, hey, well, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. You know, but.
Okay. So I have a few more questions for you, Scott. Any substance use, alcohol, drugs, at
No.
all? Ever? Even
Uh,
recreationally?
like when I was a kid.
No, but I mean now.
No.
No drinking, no.
I mean, I drink on occasion.
Okay.
I smoke tobacco
Okay.
pretty regularly.
Okay. How often do you drink?
It's very like sporadic. You know, it's like
Okay. Like once every month.
like I can go like a few months of no drinking at all, and then like 1 month, like you know, since Larry and Rachel have been back, you know, there's days where Larry and I were making beer. Now he's got beer on tap. You know, we drink a little more.
Sure.
We maybe drink once or twice a week.
Okay. Doesn't sound like it's problematic at all.
No, I've never had a addiction to alcohol. Thank God. You know, it runs on both sides of the family. So
Good. Glad you were able to steer through that. Any thoughts of harming yourself?
no,
Thoughts
No,
of harming anybody else?
no. I used to have it a lot, but now
Thoughts
that
of harming yourself?
yeah, but now
Okay.
that you know, now that I've got my CDL and I have all these job opportunities and I know that I can get out there and make a way for myself, you know, that's kind of really brought that confidence back.
Good. So, excuse me.
But one thing, so like I said, I went up there. They sent me back needing medical documents. I'm afraid of not being able to get care while I'm driving semis. And they don't offer a lot of time off. It's like 4 days a month.
So
So-
we have some options to. So okay.